At its peak, this device was so addictive that people nicknamed it the Crackberry. Presidents used it. CEOs lived on it. It owned the entire business world. And then, in just a few years, it went from ruling the smartphone to almost total irrelevance. This is the story of BlackBerry, and how being absolutely certain that you already know what customers want can quietly destroy you. To understand the fall, you have to understand how good BlackBerry once was. Before the iPhone, if you were serious about business, you carried a BlackBerry. Its physical keyboard let you type emails at lightning speed. Its messaging system was fast, private, and secure. Governments and banks trusted it. It was the ultimate status symbol of the busy, important professional. Stick around, because its greatest strength became its fatal weakness. BlackBerry, made by a Canadian company, dominated the market it had basically created. It made the smartphone into an essential business tool. Millions of professionals were hooked on that little blinking red light announcing a new message. The company was a national champion, hugely profitable, and seemingly untouchable. Its leaders were confident, and they had every reason to be. They had read their customers perfectly for years. Then, in 2007, Apple revealed the iPhone, and it was a completely different philosophy. No physical keyboard at all, just a big, smooth glass touchscreen and a full internet browser that actually worked like a real computer. It was designed not just for email, but for everything. Music, video, web, apps, all in your pocket. The crowd was mesmerized. The rules of the game had just changed. And how did BlackBerry react? With confidence that curdled into arrogance. Their customers, they reasoned, were serious professionals. Serious people needed real physical keyboards to type fast. They needed long battery life and rock-solid security, not a delicate glass toy for watching videos. Touchscreen typing was slow and clumsy. The iPhone, they were sure, was a gadget for consumers, not a serious tool. It was no threat to them at all. But BlackBerry, like Nokia, missed the real revolution. The iPhone wasn't really about the keyboard, or the lack of one. It was about the apps and the experience. Soon, the phone became a platform for millions of apps, a doorway to the whole digital world. People didn't just want to send emails anymore. They wanted maps, games, cameras, social media, everything, all beautifully designed. BlackBerry was still thinking about messages. The world had moved on to everything else. At first, BlackBerry's confidence seemed safe. Businesses were slow to switch, but something powerful was happening underneath. Employees started buying iPhones for themselves and loving them. Then they started bringing those iPhones to work and demanding to use them instead of their company, BlackBerry. The consumer that BlackBerry had dismissed was quietly becoming the most important force in the entire market. Every year, the iPhone and Google's Android phones got better, faster, and more beautiful. Their touchscreens improved until typing on glass felt natural. Their app stores exploded, and the gap between them and BlackBerry grew wider and wider. BlackBerry's phone started to look old-fashioned, clunky, and limited by comparison. The very thing that had defined it, that little keyboard, now looked like a relic of the past. Panic finally set in, but far too late. BlackBerry scrambled to respond. It released touchscreen phones of its own, but they felt like awkward imitations, buggy, and behind the times. It kept clinging to its keyboard identity, even as the market screamed for something else. It was trying to defend a castle while the world had already moved to a different country. Every response was a step behind, and the ground kept shifting. The numbers tell the brutal story. BlackBerry once held a commanding share of the smartphone market. Within just a few years, that share collapsed toward almost nothing. Loyal customers, one by one, switched to iPhones and Androids and never came back. The company that had invented the modern business smartphone was being erased from the market it had built at breathtaking speed. BlackBerry placed one last desperate bet. It poured everything into a brand new operating system and a new lineup of phones, hoping to leap back to the front. But it arrived years too late. By then, customers had already committed to iPhone and Android. They had their apps, their photos, their whole digital lives on those platforms. Almost no one was willing to switch back to a third option, no matter how good it was. The comeback failed, and so the giant surrendered. BlackBerry eventually stopped making its own phones altogether, licensing its once legendary name to other companies, and then fading from the market entirely. The device that world leaders and executives had been unable to put down simply disappeared from people's hands. A brand that had defined an era became a nostalgic memory, a symbol of a world that had moved on. Like a few other fallen giants, BlackBerry the company did not completely die. It reinvented itself, quietly, as a maker of security and software for other businesses, working far from the public eye. It survived. But the BlackBerry that ruled the world, the must-have device in every important pocket, was gone forever, a casualty of its own unshakable certainty about what customers would always want. So what is the real lesson of BlackBerry? It's a warning about the danger of listening too closely to your current success. BlackBerry knew exactly what its existing customers said they wanted: a great keyboard and secure email. So it kept giving them that better and better, while a competitor asked a bigger question. What might customers want next that they can't even imagine yet? BlackBerry optimized the past. Apple invented the future. The deepest lesson is this: certainty is comfortable, but in a fast-changing world, it can be deadly. BlackBerry was so sure it understood its customers that it couldn't believe they would ever change. It defended its keyboard like a fortress, right up until the moment the customers walked away and never looked back. So the question the story leaves us with is this: when you are absolutely certain you know what people want, are you brave enough to ask whether that could suddenly change? If you enjoyed watching this empire fall, subscribe, because next time we've got another giant that never saw it coming.